What's up, y'all? This is Janedri from Above Adversity. I'm here with Joshua and Gifted Ibra.
Yes, sir.
Gifted Ibra is a singer and dancer from the Bronx, and we're looking very forward to being able to do this interview with him. He has a lot of interesting insights regarding what it means to overcome your own adversities, and we can't wait to get into this interview. So first off, thank you so much, Ibra, for coming here to talk with us today.
Of course, I appreciate you guys. Above Apparel, make sure y'all go get y'all shirts.
Sir.
It's definitely a pleasure. I'm willing to, let's talk. Let's get into the journey. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Love it. Love the energy. So first off, I already kind of said it, but could you give us a little bit more info as to like where you're from, where you grew up?
Yes, sir. So I'm from the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the Bronx. I started off on Fordham Road, and then I moved around a lot. Ended up around Cypress, 3rd Ave. So from there, that's where I kind of did most of my growing, like within the projects. And it's interesting because I was never a product of my environment. Like anybody that was around, I kind of separated myself and made sure that I stood separate in terms of me dancing and singing all the time. It was kind of what I was known for, so it became my like my special thing. Like, this is what I'm known for, this is what I do.
Like your own trademark.
Yeah, early on, because I would always be singing and dancing as much as I used to be shy, because of that environment. Everybody wants to try and be thugs and be gangster and all this stuff. And so it kind of seemed corny, but as I kept pursuing it and kids got older, they seen how real it was and how it took me to different places. So I grew up in the Bronx, and I started a career of dancing around, I would say middle school is when I really started pursuing it. I was always dancing since young, like since elementary school, yeah. I did my first play in kindergarten. I remember that. Like, it was
man, that's fire.
Nice. Can I get the mic for a second?
Yeah.
So you said that you started your first play in kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
So you've obviously had artistry spanning all the way even back then. So given that, like, what was the point in your life where you were like, okay, I want to make this my career, like I'm gonna lock in with this and I want to put all of my energy towards it? Because I believe that you told us a little bit earlier that right now you're in school for music, right?
Right.
So yeah, could you just let us know, like, at what point did you decide you were really gonna take it seriously, and what was it that like inspired you to take it seriously?
I would say around 8th grade. 8th grade was the first time I was inspired by a couple of friends of mine who actually started making music. It was very interesting because I always wanted to record music. I would sing Chris Brown songs and this is that, and I had a voice. However, I never seen myself doing it. When I had a friend who I connected with who actually went to the studio, started recording music, I was like, wow, that's really, really cool. And then I learned that it was so much more than just recording the song. You have to actually go in there and mess up different labels and change up different types of sounds to get the sound that you want. And it just sparked it for me. And then high school, I started going crazy around 11th grade is when I recorded my first song, my first ever song.
What was it called, but if you don't mind us asking?
It's called Fall Back.
Fall Back, all right.
Fall
Check
Back,
that
yeah.
out.
Man, it was my first song, and I went to a studio. I had a friend who was an engineer, and we were both young at the time, just starting out. He was good with the engineering part. I was good with the voice, and we just came together. And then I was like, you know what? After high school, I'm gonna pursue this in college or pursue an engineering degree. And now I'm on my 2nd year in college, trying to get my engineering degree within music.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And is that like an associate? You're trying to get a music? Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's what's up, bro.
That's cool. Where at, if you don't mind us asking?
I go to LaGuardia.
LaGuardia. Oh,
Community college.
They have a pretty nice music program.
That's fire.
So just wondering, where do you plan to hopefully? So just to repeat that. Where do you plan to hopefully like take these aspirations? What's like the biggest goal? What makes it like pop up to you like, I've made it?
You gotta be thinking big, bitch. You gotta be thinking big. So
gotta be thinking big. I like that. Yeah.
I'm trying to take it to a level that has never been before, or it hasn't been seen in a long time. For example, Michael Jackson. Nice. We haven't seen an artist like that in a long time, because he could and it didn't matter what he did. When he stepped on that stage, it was the presence, it was the aura, it was his voice. His songs had healing abilities. So I'm trying to kind of bring that back because I sing, I dance, and I look good. You know what I'm saying? So I could do it all. So I'm trying to bring that sensual feeling back, and also with the healing music, so that I could change the mindsets of my generation and help them understand that we could go to different levels regardless or not of the influence around us, because we've had examples to look up to that's not here no more, unfortunately, but we can't forget that they existed.
Right, for sure.
So we can embody them.
Josh, do you have anything to add regarding that?
Yeah, so I remember that you mentioned that, you know, you saw Chris Brown. You looked up to Chris Brown when you was really getting into dancing.
Absolutely.
And then you just mentioned, you know, the king of pop, Michael Jackson, right?
Sir.
So, like, is there any other influences that had a really big impact? And, like, what would, if you did, I mean, since you're a dancer, right, I know you've had to, like, you know, practice a lot of moves from like specific artists. So like what would you say is like the first move you like had to practice like when you first like got into like dancing?
Oh man,
And
that's okay. That's an actually good question. That's a really good question. I would say, you know how you young and you stand in front of the TV and you watching a music video play out, and you like, oh, how you do that? That's kind of how it went. So Chris Brown, I think it was Chris Brown turned up the music because he was dancing a lot in that song, but it was just like, yo, how are you even doing this stuff? So I think it was that slow-mo part. I don't want to. That's the first time I ever like, you know what? Let me.
He's like,
try.
that's smooth. Let me do that.
Let me try it. Let me try to embody this the way he was doing it. And when I did, it kind of just expanded from there. You know, from music videos to now I'm going to do this in real life. And when the song comes on in the function, now I'm just busting out those moves, and I'm like,
natural.
yeah, it will feel cool. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I gotta keep doing this. I gotta keep working on my moves, and then it will just collectively build. So from my influences would be Chris Brown. Who else was coming out? Usher was really doing stuff. I used to watch videos of Neo. Surprisingly, Neo
got moves like that.
He had choreo.
That ass.
Yeah,
okay.
he had choreo in his videos.
That's nice. Can I ask a question, Jay Wiggs?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so you brought up Michael Jackson, the king of pop, and you know I think that's a really good example because, like, you know, like even the other day I was watching one of his videos and I saw like it was a Super Bowl performance. Dude literally stood on the stage for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Didn't do shit. Didn't do anything at all. Literally just stood there, standing there with his shades on.
Yeah.
Everyone's cheering, fainting, knocking out. Another video.
The explosion, right?
Yeah, the explosion
the
stuff.
aura.
Then there's this other video where like he was in South Korea and like he was on like this giant like elevator thingy, right? That was like escalating him up, and like some fan literally ran from the crowd and ran up and climbed up that shit and was held on to him, bro.
Held on, like he
had to grab him like,
For the whole time, bro. So like I think that's an amazing goal, right? And since you want to have that kind of influence over people, what's the message that you really want to push for people, like when it comes to overcoming their issues?
The main message would be to operate out of a high vibration, because that phrase alone seems so small, but when you break it down and you understand what a high vibration is and you operate out of that, it makes a lot of stuff more clearer. And like, it's the mindsets, you know what I'm saying? That statement alone can change your mindset if you truly understand what it means, because we're frequencies, we're energies, and I think people forget that because we're so involved in the human experience. Whole time we're like radios, we're walking radios, so we can pick up frequencies, we can disturb it, and it happens all the time as we get around people, you know what I'm saying? We connect with one another, we pick up each other's energies and things like that. So the main message would be to operate out of a high vibration, so operating out of a high frequency, learning who you are, and sticking to who you are in terms of doing what's best for you. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking about what somebody would say about you, not being in a low vibration of humiliation or fear of trying new things. Just it's more about learning that any single person in the world, if they put their mind to it or they tell themselves that they could do it, they could achieve it, they can make it happen.
For sure, that's a great answer. And like more to your point when you're talking about like those mental wavelengths of positivity versus those wavelengths of like anxiety and doubt. It's definitely something that people can pick up on, and a lot of these things are it's hard to notice because these things are a lot of subconscious to
Very
a lot of extent, right?
and subtle.
So you don't even peep it, and it could not even be your energy. It could just be energy off of people around you. So I do think that's something that's very good to take mind of, because there's times where you could have this anxiety, this doubt, and you will literally have no idea that it's not even you.
It's not even you.
It's some thought that just came around you. Maybe it was someone who was nearby you that was anxious. Maybe it was just this internal thought or anxiety that you didn't deal with a long time ago. All right, and it just shows that you need to be conscious of your own energy, and I definitely do agree with that. So I think the next question would be is like, how do you think a person could like develop a consistent work ethic?
Being consistent in their persistence. So it all starts from determination. When you take that first step of doing anything that you ever wanted to do, and you feel how you feel after completing that first step, that feeling is what you want to continue to remember and hold on to, so that you can continuously look forward to that feeling. That means the next day you're doing twice what you did the first day, and it's gonna give you that same feeling, if not even better, and it's gonna get used to always working, always putting in the work, so that you're not having to stay stuck or worry or get complacent. You're not getting comfortable in what you've already done. Get used to just continuing working, because as you continue in working, you're gonna look back in 2 weeks, you're gonna be like, wow, I didn't even know I was gonna go that far in this amount of time. And as you keep doing that within the consistency rate, your framework or your work ethic gets faster in terms of the amount of work you're actually getting done, in terms of how better you're getting. It's in comparison. So
makes sense. Jay, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. So on the track of like consistency and like persistence, right? What would you say would be something that you've done multiple times to get out of a great adversity in life? Every human being, we've all had like a great amount of like stress and like hitting that wall of like stopping us from like wanting to do what we need to do to pursue our dreams, right? What would you say is something that you've done that helped you get out of that dark cloud?
As a spiritual person, a lot of things that I've done stemmed from isolation, because I do believe God's rejection is God's protection, and sometimes we do forget that. I would say for me, the main thing that really got me out of adversity, when, for example, I will be in a mental funk.
Yeah, I feel you. So yeah, you would be in a mental funk, and then you'd decide to isolate yourself to an extent.
I would have to isolate myself to get my mind kind of right. So I would either meditate or lock myself in a room for a good 30 minutes, work out, just do anything to change my energy from being stagnant. Like if I feel down, it's like, okay, now I gotta go do something to go get out of that place. I would put my phone up. Let's record a video.
Yeah.
Just contribute it to the growth, so that you're always working.
Jay, what's going to get the mic?
Yeah, I'll hold it.
Yeah. So honestly, I think that's a really great point, because you're basically saying that you think that whenever you're in a mental funk, it's very important for you to just be aware of your energy in general, right? Which is something that you said earlier, and then being able to control it and change it in the moment. Being able to take a conscious action in the moment and change it. So you notice that you're in a mental funk, it's like, all right, what's something that I can do that I wouldn't be doing if I was in a funk, right?
Exactly.
It's basically manifesting that energy and trying to push you into a new mode of reality, trying to be aware of those anxious wavelengths and kind of dispel them. All right,
Absolutely.
and that makes sense. I think that's a very great strategy. Honestly, is there anything else that you would like to tell us, or is there any more advice that you'd like to give to the followers of Above Adversity right now?
Definitely. For all of you guys who are trying to be new content creators and musicians, those fields are very highly populated. Okay, and I know everybody can't really be the same person. They can't just keep copying and pasting. So find what makes you you. Find what makes you unique. And when you do find what makes you unique, find out how you're gonna distribute that to the world, how you're gonna help the world with it, because there's a lot of senseless content out there, and if you want to create longevity in something, you have to have a meaning. It has to mean something to not only yourself but to people around you. So find the true meaning of what you're doing it for, and you're gonna prosper, I promise you.
I like that. Find your purpose, and then you'll prosper. That's a great way to put it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ibra, for taking the time.
Yo, thank you, Ibra. Appreciate it, man.
A lot.
For real.
All right.